12 tiers of progression, 12 chapters of escalating tech, magic, and challenge. In Gregtech New Horizons, the grind is long, the challenge is difficult, and the tech gets more and more insane. You ever see the plat line? Crazy stuff. In this segment of my run within this behemoth of a mod pack, we get to the next age of progression, the high voltage age, unlocking the clean room, implosion compressor, vacuum freezer, distillation tower, and the most impactful unlock of them all, the moon. Next episode for that one. I am Bedrock Burger, your local peanut butter M&M enthusiast. As always with every single video I make without fail, all of them, every single one, usual shameless promotion time. Subscribe, like the video, say hello to the voices in my head, make sure to check out my memberships as well. You get early videos for only a single burger dollar. I also get $1, it's a win-win. Did I sell you on it? Good, I hope I did. With the shameless promotion complete, let's just get right into the run. With high voltage on the horizon, I needed to upgrade a very important part of my infrastructure, my fuel. Right now, one pyrolysis oven was just enough for all my MV machines, but the thing about this mod pack is that each age requires 4 times the power of the previous tier, so a recipe that takes only 32 EU per tick in low voltage requires 512 EU per tick in high voltage. I will need a second pyrolysis oven to make even more benzene for fuel. We here at Burger Studios love our delicious benzene. Screw vac nukes, let's keep with the tree slurping. To start with the preparation, I did some number crunching and realized that I had way too many machines for my current setup. I had 8 fluid extractors and 4 distilleries for a single oven, and that was just way too many. I shrunk this setup down to only 3 fluid extractors and 1 distillery per pyrolysis oven, but would use the others for a second pyrolysis. On day 231, I looked into nitrogen creation, as nitrogen could be used to make my pyrolysis go faster. Double speed, which is nice. The pyrolysis oven has 3 ways to increase its speed: nitrogen usage, coil tiers, and power input. The downside is that the power upgrade is a 4-2 overclock as opposed to a 4-4 overclock, meaning I need 4 times the power for only 2 times the speed, as opposed to 4 times the power for 4 times the speed like the LCR. On the bright side, nitrogen creation was really simple. All it took was a compressor and a centrifuge. You place an empty cell into the compressor and it makes compressed air cells. 5 of these go into a centrifuge and it makes nitrogen and oxygen. Super easy and extremely power efficient. With a single low voltage generator and redstone alloy cables for less loss, I could power 6 total machines, 3 compressors and 3 centrifuges. Super efficient and really easy. I made a setup with item conduits to round robin the cells so that way it would split between the 3 pairs of machines. It's a bit jank, but it makes nitrogen for my pyrolyses. It's all good. I had my current pyrolyze pause as I was doing this, as I had something like 18 million benzene just sitting around after my last AFK session. It would all be gone by the time this year ends, as I use so much benzene very soon. Stainless steel takes a little bit. On day 234, I crafted my second pyrolysis oven controller and started making the new multi-block while sharing it with the first one. I decided to share only the output bus because unfortunately the input buses couldn't be shared due to the multi-block guidelines. I also kept the output hatch non-wall shared, sending the wood tar into shared pipes. It just works. I wanted to use the same setup as my other oven and use 1 medium voltage generator and a power transformer too. If I had $1 for every time a pyrolysis oven exploded in my runs, I'd have $2. It isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. On the bright side though, I learned to stop relying on transformers and it didn't destroy the controller this time. I rebuilt everything, learned how to put the transformer the right way, and turn this baby on. And this time, it worked perfectly. 0 explosions. If I have another explosion, that's 3 strikes and I'm out. I gotta quit the Gregtech run. With this setup, I could use 3 fluid extractors per oven and 1 distillery per oven to make benzene at a really solid rate. I would need to upgrade everything when I get to year 3, but that's a future burger problem. For now, these 2 ovens would be fantastic. To account for the new output of benzene, I decided to upgrade my buffer tank. The current one could only store 10 million of the good stuff as it's an iron tank, and I needed more storage. I could do either steel or aluminum, so I went with a max size aluminum tank, as weirdly enough I had almost double the aluminum that I had steel, and an aluminum tank was 4 times the capacity of iron versus 2 times the iron if I went for steel. There is the question of, should I do the stainless steel tank next? It's double the aluminum, and frankly I'd probably need as much as possible as a buffer. For my wood, it also needed an upgrade, so I upped my farm from 1 layer to 3 layers and moved it all outside with glass surrounding it. One crop manager can do up to 3 layers, so it works out pretty well. Much more wood, and I wouldn't need to touch it until I update my game to the 2.9 update. Crops NH seems a bit silly, so I definitely need to do that. 31, 31, 31 saplings seem really good. To resume medium voltage progression, I made a few more machines. An MV forming press, which I needed for something that I actually forgot at this moment, but I would need it for AE2 later. The next thing I made was a monocrystalline silicon boule. Very close to high voltage, my current goal was to make new energy hatches for my EBF, and the first step was to make these boules. To smelt up the main material for high voltage, I would need to overclock my EBF up to high voltage levels. Each age has a metal ingot associated with them, and high voltage has stainless steel. For the energy hatches, I also made an MV cutting machine. It cuts stuff. Wow. Another machine to my collection is the Precision Laser Engraver, which could have materials and a certain color of lens placed inside to engrave the material into something new. With the boule I made earlier, I could cut it up into wafers, then engrave them with pro-America propaganda to make different wafers. Wafers into wafers into wafers, ain't that fun? What wafers you make from the wafers depends on the color lens you put in, so make sure you don't forget and accidentally put in the wrong lens. That happened once or twice for me. To detour a little bit, I made a solar panel for my crop manager for the wood farm for my pyrolyzes. On day 246, I added a low voltage battery buffer and a low voltage battery with the solar panel on top. With these powers combined, I had a very easy infinite wood farm. Crop managers use such little power to run that this was plenty more than enough to run it without any changes. Later, I may upgrade it to higher tier crop managers to increase both yield and range of collection, but for now this was perfect. I hooked it all up and let it go. It was more than enough for my 2 pyrolyzers at this current moment, but again would need to be upgraded as I upgraded, well, everything. My next project for this part was to set up a farm for 2 really good materials, gold and redstone. High voltage stuff needs electrum, and electrum is made from gold, so therefore I needed gold. This small automation was actually incredibly easy. I just needed 1 medium voltage extractor, 3 medium voltage centrifuges, and a crop manager. The flower of choice this time for my crop manager was the glow flower, as it could be harvested with crop sticks and could have glowstone extracted from it. 2 flowers make 1 glowstone, and 2 glowstone could be centrifuged to make a redstone dust and a gold dust per operation. It all only took 2 power generators to run the whole thing, so it was also very power efficient. I set up some drawers and just let it do its thing. It's a bit slow, but infinite of both materials is very welcome, as gold is decently rare in ore veins. Redstone is absolutely everywhere, but gold is a bit more rare. On day 253, I decided to make more circuits. Precisely 2 stacks of low voltage and 1 stack of medium voltage. So realistically, it's 4 stacks of low voltage total. Since I have been busy collecting a lot of materials over time, it actually wasn't too bad to do. The biggest cost of what I was doing was time. The circuit assembler is a godsend for reducing costs, but it does still take a long time to do its thing. While I waited, I did a bunch of busy work around the base, mostly bee work, beesy work. That's important. I will actually be focusing on bees soon, don't worry, and by soon I mean year 3. I did miss earlier that I had set up a tropical bee loop, and that would have been breeding for probably 100 days at this point. So with all the combs I now had, I centrifuged them to make a bunch of silk. With it, I could upgrade my backpacks, if you remember those from year 1. The diggers and miners, going from 15 slots all the way up to 45 slots for blocks and ores. In the nether, I mined up a ton of copper, then returned back to work on day 257, where all 4 stacks of LV circuits were complete. It Took a little bit. It's the power of editing, you can cut out a lot of stuff. To make my MV circuits cheaper, I created some hydrochloric acid using some hydrogen and chlorine. The chlorine I had obtained through electrolyzing salt. I also made a bunch of sulfuric acid. The sulfuric acid was combined with polyethylene sheets and copper foil to make circuit boards, and the hydrochloric acid was combined with iron dust to make iron 3 chloride. All three of these chemicals will be very needed for the massive amount of circuits I'd be making very soon, so I took a note to automate them in the future. Right now, they're used for a bunch of circuit boards. A lot of circuit boards. Basically every circuit board for most of the rest of the pack. Until then, I would batchcraft these. To prepare even more for high voltage, I demolished a full manganese vein. This ore vein is the rarest in the overworld, unknowingly so, but through processing it, I could get chrome, one of 4 things needed to make stainless steel. Iron dust, nickel dust, manganese dust, and chrome dust. There is another way to get chrome with the machines that I have, but we'll get there soon. On day 265, only 100 days left, it was finally time to go for quad EBFs. I'd be smelting so much stainless steel soon, so I'd need a quad EBF to handle it all. Fortunately, it could all still be poo-poo nickel coils. All I needed was to upgrade the energy hatches. We're going back to that. For power, I made a bunch of combustion generators, 16 to be exact, as I need 4 per EBF, and yes, I did do an oopsie. Did you catch it? Don't worry, I didn't either until way later. Anyways, on day 267, I made the other 3 EBF controllers and got to work on the other parts. Heatproof machine casings, coils, inputs and outputs, you get the idea. With the power of wall sharing, I shared an output bus between all 4 of them, and input buses and input hatches were shared in pairs. We love wall sharing, it's so nice. I finished up all the MV energy hatches at the end of day 268 and set them down next to where the quad would go, as I still need to make all the other parts of the EBF. This is my task for the next days, with the longest part being the poo-poo nickel coils. This took me all the way to day 274, and during that I realized I had made the wrong generators. I made combustion when I actually needed gas turbines. Oops. That was a lot of circuits down the drain. When I made the correct generators, I used my shiny kinda new plastic pipes to connect it all up to my benzene storage. Quad EBF complete, we love it. I also had attached my oxygen storage directly to the EBF as well, as oxygen could be used to double the speed of some ingots when cooking in the EBF. I had plenty of oxygen, so it's fine. With it, I mixed up some stainless steel dust. A lot of stainless steel dust. So much stainless steel dust. I did need more chrome though, so the next mini project of this section was more chrome. While yes, manganese veins could get me chrome through processing, it's not the best way to get reliable chrome. So I went for the second best source for chrome in this entire pack as far as I'm aware, ruby juice. I say second best because bees exist, but I'm very far from a chrome bee right now, so ruby juice is the best I got right now. To do it, I need a centrifuge and a mixer for the machines, and ruby dust, hydrochloric acid, and sodium hydroxide dust. The ruby, acid, and dust gets mixed into ruby juice, then the ruby juice gets centrifuged to have a 50% chance at making a chrome dust. It also fully refunds all the hydrochloric acid, so it's a pretty easy loop. All I need to input was the ruby dust and the sodium hydroxide dust, and it made a bunch of chrome for me. Lucky for me as well, I had a ton of ruby ore just sitting around because it's in redstone veins, which I have been mining here and there throughout my run. On day 279, I finally obtained my first stack of stainless steel, the main material for high voltage age, and surprisingly enough, I actually wouldn't use too much of it. You'll see why. After AFKing for a decent bit of time for the stainless steel to smelt, using my rule of pausing time to let things process, I had over 3,000 ingots smelted and a significantly lower amount of benzene. Went from probably 18 million liters of the good stuff all the way to less than 2 million. Benzene is a really good fuel, but very clearly I'm actually not making enough. To be fair, my pyrolyses are still on LV power with poo-poo nickel coils, so they're not as fast as they can be. Future burger problem. With my new batch of stainless steel, it was time to make my way to high voltage. To round it back to earlier in the year, my goal was moon before day 365, so I very much need to start rushing as fast as I can to make it to the beautiful cheese rock. I started my preparation by making a bunch of powder barrels, needed very soon, made from gunpowder, wood planks, and string. I also started to work on item filters as they're used to make blocks for the clean room. On day 290, I made some good integrated circuits, a needed part to high voltage circuits, at least the base one. Circuits change a lot right at this point. It's weird to explain, but when I get to making the new circuits, I'll try my best. With these new circuits, I was ready. Using stainless steel plates and some plastic, I crafted my first high voltage machine hull and entered into the next age. As usual, the first thing I did was to make the high voltage components, but this time I needed to batch craft them, solving an issue I was having in previous ages. With a few made, not yet batch because I got lazy, I crafted the clean room controller out of the very HV circuits I had and got a trophy for it. In day 294, I finished up the clean room in full. I made it slightly bigger than minimum size, as the parts are not too bad to make. Plasticrete blocks made from black steel frame blocks, polyethylene pulp, and wet concrete. Filter machine casings made out of a bunch of stuff I'm too lazy to go through, a maintenance hatch, and a couple of other things. Once assembled, this multi-block could be powered with as little as low voltage power. Every 9 seconds, this clean room upticks a percent. Think of this percent as how clean the clean room is and likelihood of recipes completing. Some recipes are required to be done inside the room, mostly circuit assembler recipes, cutting machine recipes, and engraving recipes, and the percent of the controller is the chance your recipe completes. It is actually really simple to keep at 100%, as maintenance issues are pretty rare. Each time you get a maintenance issue, they do drop the percent by 10% per issue, but if you fix it, it just goes right back up. So make sure to keep it at 100% so it doesn't void completed recipes. With how many circuits I need, being at max cleanliness is essential. I didn't yet make these new circuits as I preferred to stock up materials first, but instead I made a new multi-block controller, the large chemical reactor. This multi-block is probably one of the best in this pack by a large margin. It's a chemical reactor, but much bigger. But why is this the best? Well, essentially, chemical reactor recipes start to become a lot more prevalent from this point on, and the LCR could not only do multiple recipes in parallel, but they're also faster, and the LCR gets perfect overclocks as soon as you build it. With medium voltage power, it could do high voltage recipes at 4 times the speed instead of just 2 times the speed like some other multi-blocks. Perfect overclocking, as it's called. For my own build of it, I tried my hardest to minimize the polytetrafluoroethylene usage by replacing whole blocks with input and output buses. 5 inputs and 5 outputs. Still didn't have it automated yet, so I'd be batch crafting all the polytetrafluoroethylene for now. This LCR would help with crafting circuit parts, mostly circuit boards as they take a long time in regular chem reactors, but a very short time in the LCR. I intended to start with a stack of the new HV circuit, so I need a lot of circuit boards in my major push to the moon. But that'll have to wait for next episode. In the next episode, we push towards the moon and complete the entirety of Year 2. I hope to see you all there in the final episode of Gregtech New Horizons Year 2. Thank you all for coming and watching. Bedrock Burger, out.